Arsenal versus Chelsea, worth over £1,500, is finally here.
AFTV is teaming up with Reporte, the marketplace for luxury raffles, to give one lucky winner these tickets.
We're talking free food, drinks, great seats, and a day at the Emirates that you'll never forget.
And with only 250 tickets available, your chances of winning are seriously high. Plus, guys, a percentage of every ticket sold goes to a charity to help fight childhood cancer.
It's completely transparent and the checkout is easy. It takes less than 1 minute and you can even use Apple Pay.
So hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to enter a raffle with Reforte.
The competition is UK only and the winner will be announced live on YouTube and Instagram, so grab your tickets right now.
Good luck!
Hi and welcome along to AFTV. We're here for our live at 7 tonight. Welcome along. Looking forward to today. We're going to have a couple of guests coming on later on as well. And as usual, we want to hear from as many as you as possible. So get your comments in, get your super chats in, get your I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Subject about tonight is the big game taking place on Tuesday. I'm going to be flying out tomorrow to Holland to watch Arsenal versus PSV. A huge, huge game in Arsenal's season. Can Arsenal save their season by turning things around at PSV with a big performance? The league's over. We know that. It's not mathematically still on and stuff like that, but let's be real. Chances of winning the league very, very slim. It's kind of all on the Champions League, and that's going to be really, really tough. We know there's Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid waiting. But first of all, before we can even think about that, we've got to get past PSV. So what are our chances of doing that? Ordinarily, I would have said I'm very well confident, but with the amount of injuries that Arsenal have got, this game is by no means a foregone conclusion. So I want to hear from many of you as tonight. Also keeping an eye on that Man United game. I've actually got it going on in the background here. Manchester United versus Fulham. We're playing Man United next. So interesting to keep a keen eye on them. 1-1 that game. I'd have to say I've been watching it. It's been absolutely dreadful. A dreadful spectacle. It makes me even more angry that we went out of the FA Cup to Manchester United because they've been so poor. But 1-1 that game. Looks like it could be heading to penalties. It's in extra time. Could be headed to penalties. So we keep a little eye on that one as well. But I want to hear from as many as you as possible tonight. The game, of course, on Tuesday against PSV, an opponent that we know. We played them quite a few times in the Champions League or Europa League as well over the past few years. So we kind of know a little bit about the opposition. We know we can beat this opposition, but they're going to be emboldened by the fact that Arsenal at the moment are misfiring. 2 games with no goals. We lost to West Ham. We drew against Nottingham Forest away. No goals. Tail of the Arsenal at the moment because we don't have a striker. We've been told that, don't look for Martinelli to come back until at least the end of April. Definitely not going to see Saka before then. So the options are what we know the options are, which is basically Ethan Nwaneri, Mikel Merino playing as a striker, Trossard, and Raheem Sterling. Is that going to be enough to go away and get a result at PSV? Want to hear from as many as you tonight. I'm sorry, I'm just adjusting something on my camera. Right. So, yeah, want to hear from as many as you tonight. Is that going to be enough to get the job done? Interesting to find out. Let me just go up on here. Let's get some stats around PSV. Very interesting, PSV. Didn't have a very good weekend. They lost this weekend heading into this game. Quite damaging defeat as well. Away at Go Ahead Eagles, they lost by 3-2. Not a great result for them at all because they're now 8 points off the top in the Dutch Eredivisie to Ajax. And at one stage, PSV were leading. They've sort of lost a bit of form in recent times in the league. But, of course, we can't underestimate them. We know that in the last round, they knocked out Juventus over 2 legs, and that is no mean feat, even though Juventus haven't exactly been super firing themselves. But listen, to knock out Juventus, they weren't expected to do that. They knocked Juventus out over 2 legs. So that shows you that they can be a dangerous team. But let's just look at some of the stats around the game. Arsenal are unbeaten in their 5 home matches in European competitions against PSV. 1-3, drawn 2. The most home games they've played against any opponent in the European competition without losing. However, remember, the game is not at home. The game is away. This will be the second time that Arsenal have faced PSV in the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League after being eliminated by them, and I remember that game, by the Dutch side in the last 16 in the 2006-07 season when we lost 1-0 away and drew 1-1 at home. Arsenal have lost only one of their last 14 games against Dutch sides. So that's a great record in the UEFA Champions League, and that was against PSV. Lost 1-0 in 2007, as I just said. Although more than half of those matches have ended level. 1-5, drawn 8, lost 1. Arsenal have faced Peter Bosch's PSV side twice previously in the UEFA Champions League, beating them 4-0 at the Emirates and drawing 1-1 away in the 2023-2024 group stage. Listen, if we do that this time round, we're through to the next round. And Arsenal have won each of their last 4 games in the UEFA Champions League, scoring 13 goals and only conceding twice in the process. Of course, though, that was when we didn't have all the amount of injuries that we've got now. So how are you feeling ahead of this game? This is what I really want to find out from you guys. How are you feeling against this game? It really is a massive game for Arsenal, a game that Arsenal really, really need to get something out of. Listen, I would be happy if we went there and we took away a draw. Remember, there's no away goals anymore in the Champions League. Second leg at the Emirates, going into that game with a draw, I would be happy with. A win would be amazing. A draw, I'll be happy with. A defeat, we know our difficulty at the moment. Our difficulty at the moment is scoring goals. That is the problem. Scoring goals is the big issue. So I really feel at this stage where Arsenal are at, we don't need a defeat. We need to, go into that game with something. I'm getting into some of the comments there. Afsar says 0 confidence, 0 goal scorers. This is the problem at Arsenal at the moment. We know we can beat PSV over 2 legs, but where every fan is, thinking to himself, the doubts are there is that who's going to score the goals? Even when Nwaneri scored in the Champions League, Trossard, but who can we rely on to get those goals? Even our midfield, guys like Martin Odegaard, who were firing. I mean, I was watching Manchester United. I was watching the game earlier. It's Bruno Fernandes who scores their goal, comes up with a massive goal for them. They ain't been firing up front, but Bruno's been carrying it. But even Martin Odegaard has not really been firing at all this season. When you compare it to last season, the amount of goals he scored, he's just not delivering on goals this season. So who's going to get those goals? S.A. Scouser says, no corners, no goals. And one thing that I've noticed even in Europe, it's a lot more difficult to score from some of those corner routines that Arsenal have deployed, because it seems like they're a lot stricter in Europe and seem to blow up for any little bit of pushing or any little bit of obstructions or stuff like that, stuff that you can sometimes get away with in the Premier League. You can't really get away with that in Europe. Hence why I've noticed in the Europe, in quite a few of the games that I've gone to this season, Arsenal have played a lot of short corners, maybe realising that. So that may not be as big a weapon as it is in the Premier League. So again, it's going to be really, really interesting to see. We just can't keep just relying on set pieces. We can't. Kwame says, Robbie, that's why we need a striker. We all know that. We know we need a striker, but we ain't going to get one. January's over. Can't get a striker. It is what it is. We got what we got. That's it. That's it. We've got to find a way. We've got to find a way. By the way, that Manchester United versus Fulham game looks like it's going to penalties. So that game's going to penalty. United have been terrible in that game. We got them next week. I know we've been, I mean, I wish we was going there with like some strikers. They have been dreadful. It would hurt me if we lost to them next week because they are so poor. But then last couple of games, we ain't been great either. Although I did see improvements in that Nottingham Forest game, but still want to score a goal. And that's the problem. We're not scoring goals. Mr. G, Mr. B, Mr. Really Positive, he says, Robbie, I told you already, Arteta ain't winning. Ain't winning shit, right? You are more delusional than Ty. But who told you that I'm saying we're going to win anything this season? What I'm trying to do is I'm kind of trying to say, can we go and get a victory against PSV? Mr. G, I want to hear from you. Do you think we can get a victory against PSV? PSV haven't been firing. As I said, they lost at the weekend to Go Ahead Eagles, a really damaging defeat for them. It's not that we can't beat them, but I want to hear from you guys. You're obviously writing it off. You're being very negative about it. Fair play. But let's wait and see. Don Tony Pulis, big up to him. He came through with a load of super chats last night. Brilliant contribution. He said PSV will play fearless since Arsenal are toothless. Now, that's a good shout. Make a very good point there, Mr. Don Tony Pulis, because listen, they modern day football, they're going to be studying Arsenal. They're going to realize that Arsenal at the moment are not firing. It's going to be really interesting to see what the tactics are going to be of PSV. Are they going to really come and stick it on us, really have a go at us, really, really try to, maybe get a goal or two to take to the Emirates? Or are they going to be very careful about it? Because that's the other thing. Like, what this may offer, which is something that Arsenal haven't had in the last couple of games, is a chance for Arsenal to hit teams on the counter-attack. That's something that we've not really had. Now, remember the two goals that we kind of got, well, one of the goals that we got against Leicester was on the counter-attack. The last couple of teams that we've played in the last three games we've played, Leicester, West Ham, and also Nottingham Forest, all three teams of them just sat there in a low block. Didn't really show a lot of ambition and were just looking to catch us on the counter-attack. Will it be different with PSV? Will PSV come out and attack Arsenal, which will then mean that maybe Arsenal will be the team playing on the counter-attack, which may suit Arsenal. That may suit Arsenal. That's going to be very, very interesting to see. Distant Guna says, I would try Sterling through the middle or Butler. We need to change things. Interesting. Do you go with Sterling? I mean, Sterling has been so poor. Do you start him? It's a very interesting one. Samuel C says, I'm actually confident that we can go to PSV and come back with a win. If PSV look to stick it on us, I think we could pick them off. Same on the point that I'm making as well, that it could be that they're going to attack us. Something that we haven't really had over the past couple of games. You know what I mean? We've just had teams really just, sitting off and just saying, come on, Arsenal, and we've not been able to break them down. Will this be different? Let's wait and see. Let's go to... let me get a negative one on. This guy, Ehis. Robbie, you speak for yourself, not for the fans. You're not an honest person. Well, you know me? You only care about your pocket and the gig. Shamelessly, man. Where is your standard? Well, bro, listen, I am not saying I'm talking for you. I've got my opinions, just like you've got your opinions. Yeah? Right? And I'm going to PSV. I'm paying for my own flight. I'm paying for my own ticket. What are you doing? Yeah. So, brother, and you're here as well, right? So glad that you're here. Glad that you're here, bro. You know what I mean? You're hating so much, but glad that you're here. Keep coming. All right. What a hater. Dixon says Arsenal may not be very lethal up front, but they're a very solid team. Underestimate them at your peril. Listen, we are underestimating the fact that, we're a very difficult team to beat. We don't concede a lot of goals. So, listen, we got a chance in this game. But, of course, it's going to be a tough ask with the fact that we're not scoring goals. By the way, the penalty shootout is starting here for Manchester United. I can just see Bruno Fernandes lining it up here. He takes his penalty and he dispatches it. So that's 1-0 to Manchester United in the penalty shootout. How lucky are these guys? What are they going to do? Another penalty shootout and get themselves through? Come on, Leno, man. Rise. Amson says, we're not winning the Champions League. So in short, no, Robbie, we can't save our season. As well, end up with no trophies again this season. Listen, and likelihoods of us winning the Champions League are very, very slim when you look at the teams that are out there, when you look at the injuries that are there. But listen, I want to see Arsenal fight for this. I want to see Arsenal fight. Because you know what? There's teams that have won the Champions League in the past weren't fancied to win the Champions League. Remember when Chelsea won it the last time? They weren't fancied to win the Champions League, and they won it, right? Arsenal here have got to show a load of fight. Jimenez just scored for Fulham, by the way. It's 1-1. Arsenal have got to show a lot of fight here. It's no point in just saying, oh, well, all the teams are better than us. We've got no chance. West Ham didn't have that attitude when they come to the Emirates the other day and they got a win. We've got to fight for this. We've got to fight for this. Not a foregone conclusion. Real Madrid lost at the weekend to Real Betis. Unexpected. Right? Arsenal got to fight for this. This is where players have got to step up and show their mettle. It can't just be like, oh, because the things are kind of going against us, we got no chance. I want to see this team fight. United just went 2-1 up. I think that was Dallo there with the goal. J316 says, yes, start Sterling. Let him run at defenders. Let him run the defenders ragged. Then bring on Marino when the defenders are tired. It's a really interesting one. Who do you start with in this game? Do you start with Trossard down the middle, Raheem Sterling? Will Raheem Sterling maybe in the Champions League, away from home, not in front of the fans, a little bit of pressure off him? Manager says run at their defenders. Could that be better for Sterling? Can Sterling have a moment for Arsenal when that is the moment that, say, turns around his season? 2-2, by the way. Fulham just buried their goal. Could they do that? Is there a possibility, is there a possibility that they could do that? A possibility that Sterling could do that? I mean, come on, Raheem Sterling, man. Turn up. A few years ago, I mean, this guy was a top player. What's happened to him? Is he as bad as what we're seeing? I mean, cheers, Pac. You know what I mean? Big up to you. Blessings, everyone, says Pac Renz. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Raheem Sterling's an interesting one. I mean, obviously, he's not the Raheem Sterling of old. But what I've been seeing of him, I mean, come on. Raheem Sterling, you've got to come and step it up. And this is the prime game for Raheem Sterling to say, right, here I go. I'm going to step things up. I'm going to deliver for Arsenal. It's time for him to step up. He's got to step up, if he's to be considered like a big time player, he's got to step up. Caleb says that Sterling has played at number 9 before. Arteta started Sterling a bit late, as if we got him for free. In the end, it took him a while to be match fit. Do you think that's all it is? That maybe he's not quite match fit, and that's why he's not delivering? I mean, Don Tony Pulis says, Don, ignore the fool. He'd be begging for a picture. I know, bro. Listen, I have ignored him. But I thought I'd read out his comment. You know what I mean? Because, every now and again, you got to, show the haters for what they are. You know what I mean? Like, he's still probably here. Oh, Man United just missed a penalty. But Leno would have saved there. Leno never used to save too many penalties when he was at Arsenal. But who missed that? Lindelof missed that one. Jordan Willman says, Robbie, do you think the club can have a good summer? We were talking about this last night, and I'll tell you, after January, I've lost confidence in what we can do. We ain't even got a sporting director. I need to see who's going to even come in that position first before I even start considering. We have to have a good summer. We have to. It's absolutely essential that we have to have a good summer. But by the way, Robinson just scored that penalty. That means what we got here. If Man United miss this next one, they're out. And if Fulham score the next one, they're through. So Anthony Gordon just rolled. Anthony Robinson. Anthony Gordon got sent off. How lucky are Liverpool? Anthony Gordon's going to miss the final of the Carabao Cup. He's going to miss the final because he got sent off today, straight red. They played Newcastle the other day, no Isak. They played Manchester United, no Haaland. Oh my God, just give them everything right now, man. It's just going their way. It's just going their way. It's just like, oh my days, man. Right, listen, they've deserved it. They've been the best team. Let me see this one, Man United. Oh, we saved it. Manchester United are out. Xerxes. Manchester United are out. Ooh, sorry, I'm just getting a note saying that my camera just needs to be a bit more in focus there. Let me just focus it up. But Manchester United are out. Fulham have beaten Manchester United on penalties. They are out. Let's see if, like, some of them United fans who've been messaging me, where's KG? You know what? Let me get him. I'm going to try and see if I can get him live on my phone right now. Right? This is what he always does to me on a live. I know I'm sort of segueing a bit here, but I don't care. And I know this is a bit shameless because they knocked us out, but this guy was giving me so much stick. I'm going to try and get him.
Messaging service. The person you are calling is unable to take.
Surprise, surprise.
Message after the tone.
I'm going to try him again. Hold on. Let's see if he's there. Surprise, surprise. They had all the mouth, didn't they? All this. I'll tell you what, right? We go there next week and I'm going to be upset. Even with the injuries, they're rubbish. I was watching that game earlier. They're rubbish. Fulham didn't even play that great. I ain't going to lie. They're crap. We've got to go there next week to Old Trafford and deal with these lot. Honestly. United are out. After all that, what was the point in knocking us out just to go out at home? Honestly, they're crap. They are crap. United out of the FA. I'll tell you what. Which annoys me even more. When you look at that FA Cup, there's an opportunity here for one of the sort of so-called lesser clubs in the Premier League to win it. Man United are now out. Chelsea are out. Arsenal are out. Liverpool are out. Newcastle are out. They got knocked out today by Brighton. It's really opened up. It's really opened up for a Brighton, for a Villa, for a Fulham to actually go and win this thing. Because even the biggest club left in it, City, they ain't firing either. So this is a big opportunity. It really is a big opportunity for one of those to go on and win it. But I'm glad United are out. I'm glad. One of my United fans texts me, yeah, look, Chida Obi's on and Heaven. I'm like, yo, bro, Chida Obi's not even scored for you yet. Relax. Yeah? Chida Obi's on and Heaven's on. Oh, listen, man. These guys are scrubs. Bad as Arsenal have been, with all the injuries, we're still in second place. I know that's not where we want to be. I didn't want to be comparing ourselves to Manchester United, but they are crap. And I'm glad that they're out. That's good. You know what? That's made me a little bit happy today. I know, listen, I know. It's not about, hating on other teams, because I'm still upset about where we are. I want to see us winning things, but I hate Man United. Let's be real. I don't like them. And they're out. So that's cheered me up a little bit tonight. Abdullah says, we've got a solid defense. We should experiment with Ethan up top in the first leg. If it fails, hopefully 0-0. We need something new. I don't know. I would love to hear from you guys. What do you think the formation should be for that game? This one's really interesting. And I agree with this guy, Afsar. He says, what's happened to Odegaard? Why is Trossard so poor? Anybody any answers? I'll give you an answer on the Trossard one. For me, Leandro Trossard is the type of player that he's not what I call a week in, week out consistent guy. This is why he comes off the bench a lot. He's a very good player, but you can't rely on Leandro Trossard week in, week out. He can start a game and be brilliant, then the next game he's missing. That's why a lot of times he features more as an impact player. On the Martin Odegaard thing, ever since he's come back from his injury, he's just not been the same as... Look how many goals he scored last season. Whereas this season, his shooting's been diabolical. It's like he's kicking the ball with a pillar. No power in his shots. Too many touches. Listen, we can't fault his work rate. We know he gives everything for the team. But really and truly right now, we need goals from midfield. And we're not getting any goals from midfield. There's been a couple goals from Rice, couple goals from Partey, but we're not getting enough goals from midfield. And that is a real issue. By the way, I want to big up the Arsenal women's team who won their game. They were losing 3-1 to West Ham today, and they came back to win 4-3. Well done to them. They got a late penalty to win the game on the 67th minute. So Arsenal winning that game by 4-3. So that was a massive win for the Arsenal women. As I said, they were 3-1 down and showed a lot of fight to come back and get that to 4-3. So well done to Arsenal's women. Great win for them today. Mr. Buckfast says Odegaard was our best player before his injury. Stop scapegoating when he puts chances on a plate for the likes of Havertz, Martinelli, all missing open goals. But I love Martin Odegaard. I love him. But he's been off form, Mr. Buckfast. You have to admit that. Nobody's scapegoating him, but he's a captain. And when you're the captain of a team, let's be real, you're captain of a team, you shoulder the responsibility of the team. So he's obviously, and he's nowhere near the levels of what he was last season. Last season, he was amazing. He's had a real drop-off, and probably because of that injury, he's just not really recovered properly from it. It doesn't seem that way. He seems like a player that could do it a few games out, but we need him right now. Amson says, unless we win something, nothing is going to save our season. It's all about winning trophies and not just participation. That's true, but we've got to win the game that's in front of us, right? And the game that is in front of us is PSV away. Come Tuesday night, I'll be there, and we got to put in a performance. Critical Theory says Arsenal still have a chance in the league. Come on, Robbie, believe in the league. Nah, I can't believe. I can't. I'm trying. No, I can't. I'm talking about the Champions League right now, knockout competition. Sophie King says Champions League is coming. Sophie, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Jeffy Toe says Man United FA Cup out. Yes. United fans giving it all out after that. They come and they scumbagged a little penalty win against us. Let's remember, Man United in this competition, they came to our place, showed no ambition. This defend, counter-attack, got a goal, took it to penalties and beat us on penalties. Game against Leicester, won the game by a goal that shouldn't have stood because it was miles offside and they had no VAR and the linesman completely missed it. But this game, VAR was there, right? And this game, they've been knocked out by Fulham at home, right? So they're rubbish. And I want them to go there next week and put in a performance against them. KD says maybe he's overrated. The glazing in calling him world class looks clueless now. I still think he is. I think he's just having a bad season. I'm sure he's on about Odegaard. Haji says Odegaard takes too many touches instead of shooting. Got to agree with that. He's done that way too much this season. Way too much. BH1 says, Robbie, don't you think it's time we try MLS in the left 8 and put Rice in the 6? Arteta's too scared of the counter. Why not use Rice's legs and play aggressively? We've got nothing to lose. Is this the time for really experimenting in the first leg, though? I hear you maybe in the second leg if we need to chase the game or something. I think that first leg, I wouldn't be excusing Mikel Arteta if he's a little bit pragmatic in that first leg. It's about coming away from that first leg without losing. If you do that, you've got a great chance of going through with the second leg being at the Emirates. But we can't afford to lose that first leg. And as I said, we're coming up against a team that lost at the weekend as well. So there'll be a few little doubts in their head. We've got a box-to-box video coming out where Turkish talks to a PSV fan, and he's not been too, despite their great win over Juventus, he's saying that they're not performing brilliantly this season. So it's really interesting to hear from that PSV fan. I urge you guys to watch that when that's out. Very interesting. Zelda says Odegaard dropping stinkers, should get dropped for Zinchenko, or Rice should be playing 6 with Zinchenko 8. I wouldn't drop him. Honestly, I wouldn't. Not right now. Excuse me. Arsenal Spartan says our midfielders need a target man with number 9. They will automatically be more effective. So Odegaard, Trossard being exposed because they can't carry the team like Saka, the star man. We miss Saka so badly. Sophie King again is saying Champions League is coming. Judge Arteta in May. Oh Sophie, so I'm glad to see you being so optimistic, but I don't know. 1962 Guna says, had a chat with you, Rob, at City Airport. Like I said, we got no confidence in the team. Were you the taxi driver? I remember we had a chat, man. Good chat. I'm sure he's the cab driver. We were talking about Arsenal. He was a really great guy, and it was nice to meet you at City Airport. So big up to you. Penalty justice for Arsenal, says Guna G. United are out. Not a chance to beat Madrid, says Brown Tails. Which Madrid? Because it may not necessarily be Real Madrid. It could be Athletic. I think Atletico are top of Atletico or Barcelona top of the league. Not even Real Madrid. Is this? Let me double check that. But let me just double check that. I might be spinning a yarn here, but I'm sure. La Liga. Spanish La Liga. Yeah, Barcelona top of the league on 57 points. Atletico second place, 56. Third place, Real Madrid on 54. That's tight, isn't it? That is a tight league. As I said, Real Madrid losing to Real Betis. Isco. Remember how many times he was linked with Arsenal? Isco with a goal. United, hold that, said Arsenal Spartan. They're doing the draw. Let me just, I know we're not in it, but I know it's of interest to you guys. So let me just see what the draw was. It's not going to feature Man United. It's not going to feature us either. But let's see if we can see what the draw is. All right. Brighton versus Nottingham Forest or Ipswich. Brighton at home. I'll tell you what, Brighton could go far in this. Chance for them to get revenge, possibly over Nottingham Forest, to beat them 7-0. But this is what I'm on about when I talk about Arsenal and fight and everything like that. A couple of weeks ago, about 3-4 weeks ago, Brighton got beaten 7-0 by Nottingham Forest. Complete humiliation. Ever since that defeat, they've won every game. They've been playing some great football. They're through to the next round of the FA Cup. So it's about how you respond. I know, this is going to be a test of Arsenal. How do you respond to adversity? But Brighton taking on Nottingham Forest or Ipswich. Bournemouth at home against Manchester City. That won't be easy for City. Preston North End, I've got Aston Villa. So Villa will fancy themselves there. Fulham, a London derby against Crystal Palace at Fulham. So I'll tell you, a real chance. These are quarterfinal games now. A real chance for one of these teams to go on and win the FA Cup this year. Who would you guys like to see win out of those? So obviously, I don't want to see City win it again. But a real chance. Right. GL Black says Odegaard missed a penalty. And Havertz had a generational stinker. That's why they went through. Yeah, that's true. But we were dominating in that game. Shouldn't have lost that game. Missed so many chances. And lost on penalties. You guys are enjoying United going out just like I am. Yeah, let's be real, right? It's not the be-all and end-all, but I am enjoying it. Ton547 says, no gun fingers from Xerxes today. Remember him? Blanks if I now, bro. You're out. Arsenal Champions League winner 2025. I like that. He says, manifest it. Defend our way to glory. That's going to be the key. I feel the key for Arsenal going far in this is defending because we're so short in attack. J Federer J says, surely Ranieri or Sterling are better striker options. Are they? Are they? Listen, Mourinho hasn't scored in the last couple of games. He scored 2 in that game. Hasn't scored since. Low block defenses. But then Ranieri hasn't scored. Sterling hasn't scored. None of them have scored. I personally would probably still go with Mourinho. That's just my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. But I think I personally would still stick with that. Arsenal Spartan also says, we lost to Man United because we were wearing that jinxed white kit. It might be the Spursy effect, but we need to burn that kit. We've won once in it. That's why we always are out of the FA Cup. Listen, it's not, we need to lose because of the kit, but that kit's for a fantastic cause. But I want them to redesign that kit next season. I hear what my man's saying there. That kit, we don't seem to win in that kit. White, completely white, light Spurs. I know the cause. No more red. Love the cause. Brilliant cause. Well done to Arsenal. But can we get a redesign on it? Can we get a redesign on it? A new slogan? Honestly, right? We hack it every time we put it on. We don't seem to win it. Right. The Nizbizio says, Bakayoko hat-trick to make Robbie eat his words after all that slander yesterday. Listen, I wasn't saying he's a poor player. I've seen him play against us and he was really, really exciting. But what I'm saying is, that's not for me what Arsenal need in the summer. We don't need it. I think Ranieri's as good as Bakayoko, if not better. I want to see Arsenal go up, improve above that. That's the only point I was making. I didn't say he was a poor player, but I'm just saying that I want to see Arsenal go better than that in the summer. Is that what you want, Bakayoko? Decent player, but I know. It could make me eat my words, I know it, but Football fan says Odegaard needs to be played as an 8, like an Iniesta type role, and someone needs to come in as a 10. He's passing that his game. He's a passing that has his game. He puts the key in the door. He needs someone to turn the key. Ola Mukun says, that's what we said about Porto last season. We struggled to break them down. Poor Arsenal. We struggled to break down low blocks. That's very true. But do you think maybe PSV at home, this is how I'm looking at it. PSV at home, they're going to know really with their really poor record that they've had at the Emirates, they need to bring something to the Emirates. I just don't see them sitting deep and defending for the whole 90 minutes. I don't think if you're PSV, a 0-0 or a draw against Arsenal is not really going to be a good result. Remember, away goals don't count no more. I don't think that would be a good result. I think if you're PSG, you want to take a lead to the Emirates, and then you've got a great chance of going through. So they might attack us, and that might give us a chance on the counter-attack to do something special. Mohan says, who are all these people who still think that Mikel will do a miracle? No ways. He's not a proper manager. Get him out of his club. Get this owner and Mikel out of the club. He's still not happy. Jamie Phoenix says, no, we can't. No process or phase. The PR machine has come crashing to a halt. Beat PSV first, says Ridwan. Most certainly. Most certainly we've got to beat PSV first. KD says, I remember Arsenal lost at the Emirates to this 10-man Man United. Arteta has a suspicious cup record. Danny Ceballos doing well in Madrid, says Box Fresh. He is doing very well. PSV is best at home, 71 goals this season already. We are cooked. Real Madrid would have been an easier game than PSV. Oh, come on, are you joking me or something? Are you joking? Christoph Gooch says, if we somehow win something this season, would it be more impressive than winning the league in the last two seasons? It would. If Arsenal win something this season, that would be the biggest miracle of all time when you look at our current position. So, yeah, I would say that, because the likelihood of us winning is very, very small. The Complete Unknown says, big win for our women, 4-3. As I said, well done to the women. Brilliant today. They were 3-1 down and pulled it back to win 4-3. Absolutely brilliant. So fantastic. And I like this one from Box Fresh. She says, rule change. WSL players can be drafted in. Play Russo up top. Is what I suggested yesterday. Can we get Alessia Russo or Stina Blackstenius up front for Arsenal? I tell you. Honestly, man, we're so short of firepower up front. Sophie King has really been positive today. She says, in Mikel, we must all continue to trust and believe. He is a world-beaten manager. World-beaten, but listen, it's what we've got right now, So, is what it is. That's what we got in front of us. Xerxes firing blanks. They're really on Xerxes. That celebration's come back to haunt him. The Fandom Podcast says, winning clubs always have strength in depth. Our fully fit first 11 have a chance against any team in the world, but take 3 to 4 starters out and we're back to a top 4 team like the Wenger years. Fair? We're suffering from the injuries this season. You can see it. Jazek says, Cheedo, I think he means Cheedo, better than Havertz. Why did Arteta co-sign this Havertz deal? Is he better than Havertz? What's he done so far? Listen, he's only just started his Manchester United career. He's not scored yet. He's not really made an impression. You've not looked at him and thought to yourself, wow, this kid looks amazing. Listen, he's still he's not better than Kai Havertz. Come on. That's ridiculous right now. He's the kid learning his trade. Russo or Mead would be better for our men, says Boxer. Mead's no longer at Arsenal. She's Man City now. KD again says Arsenal won't win. Arteta won't win anything this season or next season. 30% of his 11 next year will be nursing from their injuries this season. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw today, there was lots of speculation that Thomas Partey could stay at Arsenal. So, interesting. Of course, his contract is up at the end of the season. Who's going to score, says Joseph A. Well, I'm putting it out there to you guys. Who's going to score? Arvin says PSV will be easier than Porto in terms of style. As I said, I don't know, Arvin, what their style is going to be. I mean, listen, I watched their game against Juventus and they attacked when they was at home. It was a really, really good performance by them. They had a fantastic atmosphere. They had all their fans really, behind them, and they attacked and they won that game. Will they do that against us? That might suit us better. It might. Robbie, even if PSV attack, how are we attacking them with the players we have? It just might be better on the counter-attack. That's what I'm saying. Because what we've really struggled with is that low block. We've not been able to break it down when teams are deep. So there's no space in behind. There's no space at all for any players. You saw what Nottingham Forest did. They flooded the midfield. They had banks of 4 and 5. I mean, it was really, really hard for us to break down, and we just couldn't get anything out of them whatsoever. Maybe if a team attacks more and then leaves it so, we've got players in one-on-one situations, like a Wanyeri, and that might suit us. But it's going to be, I don't know what their tactics are going to be, PSV, but it's going to be interesting to see. Mr. Kaplan, big up to Mr. Kaplan. He says there's always a chance in a game of two legs, believe. True, two-legged game, but we got to leave there with something. If we leave there and we're a couple of goals down, we are in big, big trouble because we're not scoring goals. Hassan says, Robbie, why do Arsenal have so many merch releases? Well, money. They're trying to make money, and they're making lots of it. But I don't think fans want to see merch releases right now. We want to see results on the pitch. See the results on the pitch, we'll buy the merch, Oh, sorry, Miedemar is a traitor, not Mead. Oh, yeah, sorry, it's Miedemar. Yeah, Beth Mead is talking. Yeah, Beth Mead's been a little bit of form this season, actually, to be honest. But yeah, Beth Mead, not Miedemar. I think Ben White should start and he plays the overlap with Ethan like he did with Saka. Interesting. I do think Urian Timber will start. The reason being, number one, the game is being played in Holland, which is the country he's from. He played in that league for Ajax, so he's going to be very familiar with the Eindhoven Stadium and with PSV and their players, etc. That goes a long way. So he's going to have a lot of experience of playing in that stadium. So I do think that, I fully expect him to start. And we've also had a week off. I mean, no excuses. Like, we played our game on was it Wednesday? Wednesday night. So, we've had a good amount of rest. You know what I mean? PSV played at the weekend. We've had longer to sort of have a bit of more rest before that game. So all those players, I don't know of any injuries, should be fit and really up for that game. So I would, my 11 for that game, and I'd love to hear your 11, is basically the same 11 that started the last game. Oh, no, hold on. Although I'm not sure I'd start, I think I might start Lewis Skelly instead of starting Calafiori. I think I'll bring Calafiori off the bench. But Lewis Skelly and then the same team, I think, is what I'd start. not a lot of, other options, to be honest. Right. Let's get some more comments. Andrew says, love to see PSV in the Premier League. How would they do? Would they get top 4? Would they win it? I don't think they'd win it. I think they'd struggle to get top 4. They're a good side, but you have to say the Dutch league is a lot easier to win than the Premier League. The Premier League is is that, you know, one of the most difficult leagues to win. So, you know, DM says start KT to minimize mistakes. That's an option as well. And he's done all right when he's come on in the last few games. Looking a lot fitter, Kieran Tierney. But Lewis Skelly would be a shout as well. Fire Phoenix 19 says Calafiore and Marino coming off the bench, please. Options, definitely. I think Calafiore off the bench. Personally, I'd start Marino. I'm not with this Sterling down the middle thing. I've just not seen enough from him for him to warrant him starting as a striker right now. I know he played at false number 9 for City, but that's some years ago, and he's not looking anywhere near that. So, right, let's keep these going. Nick says, no point to even support Arsenal, all the while arrogant, overpaid, underachieving Legohead is still manager. We'll start to support my team again when we have a proper manager. Well, listen, bro, you support your team through thick and thin. Yeah? You don't just turn up and say, right, I'm supporting them now because everything's going great. And then when things ain't going great, you run to the hills. That's not how this thing works. You get behind your team through thick and thin. And we've had a lot of thin. And I get it. I hear the frustration. I know why you're frustrated. But you've got to stick with the team. You've got to stick with it. Matthew says Sterling played all right against Girona. He did. But I honestly, Sterling needs to turn up in a game. This is a guy at the moment. His confidence is shot. It's on the floor. He's got no confidence whatsoever. You're looking at him, you think, this is a player that needs a big game somewhere. Could this be the game? I mean, we're saying that every week, but he's got to turn up. H-Town Cleo says, Robbie, KT should be left back so we can play MLS in his actual position. In midfield, Odegaard has to be playing shite. Bench him. I wouldn't personally. This is a big game. I don't think it's a time for experiments, I don't think. Famous says, laugh out loud, Robbie, you already know we lack the force to beat anyone. We struggled against a 17th place West Ham mate. True, but against a third place Nottingham Forest, we didn't lose, right? You know, so, you know, you can, listen, we're struggling against teams who play a low block. We know that. We're struggling against those type of teams. But, no, listen, they got to put in a performance. Don Tony Pulis says, Don, should I put my mortgage on Villa to win the FA Cup? Most certainly not. Very unpredictable team. You know which team that I think could win it? Brighton. I think Brighton could win it. Good side, man. They're a good side. I think Brighton could win it. I'd like to see Brighton win it. I really would. And Andrew again says, I wonder if the Dutch league is like the Scottish league where Ajax and PSV dominate like Celtic and Rangers. Celtic have won a Champions League just like PSV, but Celtic is a bigger team than... But is Celtic a bigger team than Arsenal? Now, I think the Dutch league is stronger than... The Dutch league is definitely stronger than the Scottish league. I take your point. It's not just... I mean, Feyenoord won it with Arne Slot a couple of seasons ago as well. But it is dominated by normally Ajax, PSV. But then you could look at our league and say over the last few years, it's been City or Liverpool that dominated our one as well, you know? So, you know. PW says, get behind a depleted team. The manager and board made that chance. You get behind your team, bro. You get behind your team. That's what it is all about, you know? Kwame says, Rob, I am an Arsenal fan for 52 years, but you can't blame our fans for showing their annoyance with our club. What? Kwame, I'm not. I'm annoyed. I am pissed off. After that January transfer window debacle, when we signed nobody, honestly, I was so deflated, so upset. But it's my team. I don't support the board. I support the team. I don't support that board at all. The team I support. That's how I've always been. And when that team takes to the pitch on Tuesday night, I'm going to be lucky enough to be there. And I'm going to be right behind the team. I want to see this team do something special. The season's not over yet. Listen, the likelihood is of us going and, going all the way and winning this is slim. I know, I get that. We're underdogs, big underdogs. But I want to see fight. And I'm going to get behind them. And I want them to fight their way through what's going on at the moment. I don't want them to just wave the white flag and say, oh, this one's injured and Saka's out and now what can we do? No, I don't want to see that. I want to see players stand up. I need to see it. I need Martin Odegaard to start showing some of the form that he showed us last season and the season before. I need to see that. I need Raheem Sterling to show me that he used to be one of the best players in the Premier League. I know Father Time catches up with him, catches up with players, but I need to see something from Raheem Sterling. I need to see Mika Marino step up to the plate. I know it's not your position. I know you're being asked unfairly to do something, but I need to see you step up. I need Trossard to be more consistent. Leandro Trossard, at the start of the season, you scored a goal against Aston Villa and you didn't want to celebrate it because you were moaning about the fact that you hardly get a chance to start games. Well, you're playing week in, week out now. Now I need you to justify that. That even when the players come back, the manager says, nah, Leandro's starting. Step up. Wanieri, for me, has already stepped up. So I don't need that from him. Just keep doing what you're doing. You've stepped up already. Keep doing what you're doing. But I don't want to see no player feeling sorry for themselves. This is what we've got. You've been let down. I get it. You have been let down, the players and the fans, by this board with a disgraceful decision not to sign anybody in January. But it's done now. We're in March. Not January no more. We're in March. So it's all behind us now. Let's have a reconvene and discuss that when the season comes to an end. But right now, these players have to step up. They're not as bad, even with the injuries, as what we saw against West Ham. There was a bit of an improvement against Nottingham Forest. What I saw against West Ham was a team that was terrible. And they're not as bad as that, even with players out. So I need to see them step up. And I'm going to get behind you, and I'm going to give you my full support. But you players need to step up, and the manager, Mikel Arteta. You've got some of this on your hands as well. You didn't want to sign a striker in the summer. You went with a small squad. This is on your hands too. So now you need to do something to show the fans that you're the guy. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. We just got to start seeing the team deliver. We've got to see, there's no point in excuses. The Dutch, as the Dutch league had PSV, Ajax and Feyenoord. I think he was answering to that about if it being the Scottish league. It is stronger than the Scottish League. It is definitely stronger than the Scottish League. Ajax are a good side as well. Right. Lil Lewis 1509 says, we need to play to our strengths. Good defense and a good midfield. If we can't win a game, make sure we don't lose. That's very true as well. You know that. Remember when Inter won the Champions League under Mourinho? They did it in a very defensive fashion. Maybe that's what we could adopt. It's a knockout competition. Maybe we just got to defend, try and catch teams on the counter. Maybe that's what needs to be our focus in this, because we can't go all out attack and stuff like that because we just ain't got that attack. So maybe that is the tactics for this. One thing is we've got to defend really, really well. Andrew again says, so dapper Don. Celtic are in a more competitive league than league. Really, dapper Don? All the way back to the 30s, dapper Don. Are 14 FA Cups harder to win than 14 Scottish Cups? The Scottish League is not nowhere near the Premier League. I don't think it's nowhere near the Dutch League, to be honest. The Dutch League is definitely a better standard. Dave says, why, if PSV open up, do you think we have enough firepower to hurt them, Robbie? If I was PSV, I'd be aggressive with a high line, as only Wanieri has the pace to get in behind. But I do think even Trossard is, when teams attack us, when he gets a bit of space, he can be a very effective player. When he's been marked like doubled up, trebled up, he's not that player. That's where you need your Sakas who can beat that press. So defensive might be the way to go. Might be the way to go. Hassan says, Robbie, what else can us fans do to put pressure on the board? We've been let down and there needs to be some accountability. There does, Hassan. But I think right now, what I'd say is we got to deal with that game that's in front of us. Let's deal with that first. I think that's a lot of that post-mortem is going to be for the end of the season. I really do. Cryptid says, I would rather us play Butler a day up top. I've not seen him play enough to know if he's ready for this level. I really don't. But maybe he'll get thrown in at some stage. I mean, listen, we've seen, just as an example of that, the last couple of games, we've seen Cheeto thrown in up front for Manchester United. So far, he's not looked ready at that level. Marto says, Robbie, do you see Liverpool slip up? And if not, when do you predict that they'll win the cup compared to Arsenal matches? I don't know. I don't see them slipping up. I don't know when they're going to win it. I haven't really sat down and worked it out mathematically. If I'm being honest, I don't want to, right? Because it still annoys me and upsets me. The fact that, they're going to just cruise their way to the title, but they're going to win it. They're going to win it. Let's be real. If they didn't win this now, that would be the biggest capitulation in the history of Premier League football. So, yeah, they're going to win. Vig says, forget about open play. We ain't even scoring from set pieces no more. We'll be lucky if we get a draw from this game. Love your positivity. Oh, my days. Edit says, we only threats as team in our attack is Rice and Wanieri. However, when Trossard is on his game, he's great. Yet Odegaard has been inconsistent lately. That's what I'm saying. They've got to step up. Can't just feel sorry for yourself. Got to step up. Andrew again says, thank you, Robbie. I just heard your comment about PSV. Not too many haters today. The banter is refreshing. I'm so happy Man United are out. Arsenal 14, Man United 13. That's true. They would have been able to equal our wins in the FA. I'm glad them lot are out. Honestly, man. They were giving it all that. Good night, Man United. Right? Good night. Right, let's just get some more coming in here. We've got Giovanni, who says, we need to lock in as Stoke FC. I want to see corner kicks and throw-ins like crazy. Gabriel Magalhaes hat-trick incoming. Listen, that's how we win it. I'll take it. Oh, my days. Hassan says, Robbie, it's not acceptable for us to just let this go under the carpet. Every season, we say next season, some different action is needed, e.g. board members need to speak out to the fans. I'm with you, Hassan. I'm with you. Somebody needs to come out and tell us why they didn't sign a player in January. But they ain't gonna, And it's not good enough, but somebody should. Everybody's fuming about it. I'd like to hear the reasons why. We can get my super chats coming in. Here's Malcolm. Sorry, he says can't see Arsenal catching Liverpool or Arsenal winning all their games. I can see Liverpool winning the league by 20 points. Very true. H Down Cleo says, "Now, to be fair, Robbie, United are in another cup competition. They could win compared to us. Listen, United, they could win it. We could win it. You know what I mean? They got about as much chance as winning as we have to winning. They're crap." Chris Gooch says, "But Rob, they're not stepping up. The front line has shown no desire after realizing Marina up top won't work. Our top threat is a centre back." I think we've got Marty in the building. You there, Marty? Let's see if we can get Marty up.
Yes,
Marty,
mate,
how you doing, bro? How are you doing?
I'm very well, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm well. You know what? I was happy that United went out. You know what I mean? Like, Man United going out the FA Cup cheered me up a bit. They were giving it all this right after they knocked us out. Oh, yummy, this, that. I watched the game. I watched the penalty shootout just on my phone. They were terrible. When we go there next week, even without a striker, we need to win that game. They're crap. And that guy, people talk about Arteta getting away with it. Ruben Amorim has been a disaster so far. And long may it continue.
He ain't had a good time, has he? Let's be honest.
No, he ain't. He ain't had a good time at all.
He's had a mare.
But we're talking about our game. Can Arsenal save their season, Marty, at PSV? This is a tough game. Away at PSV. PSV knocked out Juventus, surprisingly, over 2 legs in the last round. However, PSV have been slipping up a bit in their own league. They're second as well. A few weeks ago, they were top of that league. They're now 8 points behind Ajax. They lost at the weekend to go-ahead Eagles. We're not firing. They're not firing. All right, they beat Juventus, but we also finished third out of all the teams in the Champions League. How's this going to go, Marty, on Tuesday night?
Well, look, I hope we get a decent result after I've spent 80 quid on my ticket for the return leg. So I certainly hope we don't end up 3-0 down.
My one cost 100 quid.
With you, that was a bit of a sticking point when season ticket holders that came out, and I was we used to get that game included as part of the season ticket, and I thought, well, you didn't want to splash out in January, but you're happy to take 80 quid for this game. So let's hope we see a real, a Madrid team in the next round at the Emirates.
Mine cost 100 quid.
What?
100. Mine cost.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
100 quid.
I just think, do you know what? That when you get that after not getting even. We could have got someone on loan. There's plenty of players out there that we could have pulled in on loan to plug that gap. And, it's now we're really missing, look, we're really missing Havertz. And that's the truth of it. And, this player at the beginning of the season that everyone was lambasting and giving a real hard time to, it shows, what he's done for the team. Up to this point, he's scored 15 goals in all competitions. And he 4 of those in the Champions League. And, it would have really helped us. One thing I would like to see, when he comes back from injuries, Martinelli play through the middle. I believe that is more his position. Look, he's a good winger, but I think he can be largely ineffective at times down the left-hand side. And the times he has played through the middle, he plays there for Brazil, and the times he has played there for Arsenal, he's been effective and he's scored. And I think for me, suits his style of play where he runs onto the ball and opens up teams. And he can finish, and one-on-one with goalkeepers, he's very good generally. So that's but that's not going to happen anytime that soon, and definitely not in time for this game on Tuesday night. But we go to PSV against the PSV team that have beaten us at the Emirates, but also they are on the only team that they have beaten recently is Juventus. I think they've drawn 3, lost 1 in their last 5 games with that win, and they lost to Juventus as well. 2-1. So they're not.
But they did beat them home. They did beat Juventus at home. But you are right. They have been slipping up recently. They have,
and they've got some They've got some interesting players, you know, with Perisic. He's there, and obviously they've got Lucas Perez from, you know,
Yeah, I
that used
see
to play
that.
for Arsenal, and he
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
player that we could have picked up on a free.
Mm.
So I think he got a few minutes the other day for him, you know, and Bakayoko, Lang, you know, Veerman. They've got some players that can hurt you, and
De Jong.
they have got some quality there. And it's gonna, you know, listen, all these Champions League nights and games, especially going away to any European team, they're always tough games. You've got to be focused. Am I going to support the side? Do I? You know, I think you said it very well, and this is something that I've looked at. Is Chelsea when they won the Champions League? You know, they weren't doing that well in the league. I think they finished 8th or something. I mean, we are doing well in the league. It's the having a recognised number 9 is our problem, and the depth of our squad. If a Wanyeri gets injured, or even a Trossard, you know, we're going to prove to have further problems, which is not ideal at all. Do I think we can go and do it? Yeah, of course. I support the team. I'm an Arsenal supporter. I believe in them in every game. We do have quality, and you know, we can beat teams. I think we've just got to adjust to playing this style of football and find where the goals are going to come from.
Well, where are the goals going to come from, Marty? That's the problem here. I think, listen, I don't think anybody's got any doubt that we've got a very good defence. We've got a decent midfield as well. But where are the goals going to come from? The midfield are not scoring goals, right? So they're not chipping in with it. And certainly up front, apart from me for Wanyeri, nobody's been scoring goals recently either. And even for him, it's dried up.
Yeah, I know. This is what we've got to do very quickly. So, you know, is find a way to get these goals, to score goals, and get this front line in operation. And Raheem Sterling, I caught the last bit of what you were saying, and you know, I can't believe it either. Raheem Sterling, you know, arguably should be one of the best players currently in the Premier League, and at one point was definitely one of the best players in the Premier League, and he's just been so ineffective, so lackluster, and just so impotent throughout the you know, all of the time we've had him. And this is the time for him to step up and build a legacy and say that I went to City, I did it. I went to Liverpool, I did it. And I went to Arsenal and I had a bad start. But you know what? We pushed on, and I found a way, and I slotted into this team, and I made things happen. Because he could, you know, if he gets his SHIT together, that he could really... He could really create something here, and has he got it? He should do. He's 29 years old, so it's not like he's a 32-year-old winger. He should, by rights. He's you know,
yeah, but he's looked Marty, right? He's looked like
I watch him,
a 42-year-old winger. He's been
mate.
dreadful.
I know. I was there at Forest. I was there at Forest with you.
Can he turn it around? Do you think? Can he turn it around?
He was, you know, he's just ineffective. He dribbles and he just gets caught. He gets tackled. He can't beat a man. He just
you know the thing that for me, right, when I realised that this guy in that game against Forest, when I realised that this guy's got absolutely no confidence, this is the big issue with it, right? Remember when he got fouled, or he went down for that foul in the box?
Yeah,
I think he chose to do that rather than try and beat his man.
Of course he did. Because
he knew he's kicking towards the Arsenal fans behind that goal, and he's thinking to himself, if I try and beat this man and I don't go past him, there's going to be moans and groans. If I shoot and it don't go on, he's got to get his confidence back. He's got to start taking chances now. If the crowd get on your back, they get on your back. You're an experienced player. You now need to step up to the plate. When I saw that, I thought that was a little bit. I was like, you bottled it there. You bottled it in that moment. And that was really, really painful to see. And we need a player of his experience to step up against PSV. PSV should be fearing a player like Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, they should. You're right. You're right. And he has all the credentials to do it. And I think when you talk about building his confidence, we gave him that confidence building penalty against Girona, and then what happens? He gets saved, and it's you couldn't write it, and he does need to build his confidence. How? I don't know. I'm not, I'm not Mikel Arteta, and I'm not. But he needs to, and he needs to get
A
it
lot of it's
together
down to
quickly.
him as well. A lot of it's down to him. He's got to step up to the plate. I mean, for me, I wanna see this guy step up over these two legs. Come on, you used to be one of the top players in this country. You know what I mean? Let's see something. It's a super chat coming from Panvajit who says buying a top class striker is not enough. We struggle to create chances in some games as well. A top winger and a number 10 is essential. All of that is great, Panvajit, but what about now? We've got this game coming up. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And as I said, Marty, I don't want to see us waving no white flag right now or feeling sorry for ourselves. I want to see us going to try and get through this game.
Yeah, definitely. And or the other option is the old 1-0 to the Arsenal, back to those days, because we have got a solid defence. And it's not exciting football, but it wins football matches. And are we going to, learning a way to grind results out like that? But the problem with this immediately is even finding that one goal, to then draw those blanks with teams. That's the problem that we've got. But it is a disappointing situation. And this goes back to the board in January. I just cannot believe we didn't even get one player in on loan to plug this gap. I mean, even PSV did it with Lucas Perez. I'm not saying how good he would be.
Not sure I would have wanted him.
Yeah.
He weren't even any good the first time around. Mewbury says, how about changing the formation to 4-4-2, then play Ethan and Trossard so that they don't look so predictable, but also the team keep doubling up on the wings because we don't change. Is that a fair point?
Yeah, look, I think for me, the one, I suppose, the trick that Arteta's potentially got wrong is starting with that Sterling, Trossard, Nwaneri up front, Odegaard, Rice, Partey in the midfield, and then Miles Lewis, Skelly, Gabriel, Saliba, and Timber at the back. And then after the 70th minute, when players are a bit tired, then you bring on Calafiori, who'll drive on it in the midfield, and then you bring on Marino to run around. Because these last two games where he's had Marino, he's been completely ineffective, and this hasn't worked. But when we did it against Leicester with 20 minutes to go or whatever, it changed the game, and you could see that listen, it's Leicester and they're getting relegated, but the idea of how we set up and played football for me worked because it changed the dynamic of the game, and that is what we're not doing correctly. He hasn't got a system in place to completely change the game, to be like, right, this isn't working here, right, bring these players on and play in this way to change the game, and this is how we're going to win the game. That for me is what is lacking.
Do you reckon that maybe this game in particular, going away to PSV, where the onus is on PSV to attack, might suit Arsenal, might suit the forward line, for instance, where over the last couple of games, the low block has just stifled them. You heard Nuno Espirito Santo saying that basically, we just put extra players in midfield because we knew that Arsenal haven't got a striker. But PSV really, I'm sure they'll do some of that, but they really need to, especially with their record at the Emirates being so poor, they really need to come to the Emirates with something. They really need, the onus is on them. So could this suit Arsenal where they just sit and are able to catch PSV on the counter-attack?
Well, look, let's hope so, yes. But I would imagine PSV, being the side that they are, would do their due diligence if Nottingham Forest are going to do it. And if I could do it...
Yeah, but there's a big difference here, Marty. There's a big difference here, right? Nottingham Forest were playing for a draw. We could see that. Yeah. They're more than happy with a draw. West Ham were playing for a draw.
Yeah.
And if we can get something on the counter, that's fair enough. But I think in the case of PSV, it might be we need something to take to the Emirates. They may be a bit cautious to start off with, but I do feel that they're going to have to come out at us a bit more because this is over two legs. And this is where the dynamics might be a little bit different to, say, a Premier League game at the Emirates where teams just come and sit. And we know Forest, that's how they've played all season. It's been sit deep, counter-attack. Whereas PSV, I mean, the game that I watched them against Juventus, they came out. I mean, they had to come out in that game because they needed to win the game. But this is going to be really interesting to see, and to see if that suits Arsenal.
Yeah, well, look, the way we've played in the Champions League, you've got to say suits our style of football. But since we've played in the Champions League, our team has changed. And that could be the problem. We, our record in the Champions League this season has been impeccable. It's been, it's been great. It's been, really good, and we've looked really strong against all European sides. But, I playing against Arsenal, this is how teams set up, and yes, it is European, but I'd imagine they're gonna sit back and try and. They're not. I don't think they're going to go all out attack on us, because we have got one of the best defences in Europe. On our day, with White, Saliba, Timber, Calafiori, Miles Lewis, Skelly, and Gabriel, we have got a top defence, which is hard to break down. Okay, albeit we concede have conceded some silly goals, but I'd find it very hard. I hope they do open up and let us attack them. But I can't see it, Robbie. I think the game at PSV is going to be a tight game, and I think it will end up being a draw.
All right, listen, I'd take a draw right now. I'd take a draw.
If we can take it back to the Emirates and then get a result there, I mean, we shouldn't even be talking like that. And that's the thing. We should be going there, and we should be looking to get a result.
I think it's fair enough to talk that way. It's the Champions League. I think it's fair enough to talk that way. You know what I mean? Like, especially when we're not firing at the moment. We have to accept where we are. Just looking at PSV, they're second in their league. I spoke about this at the start of their show. Second in their league, 8 points behind Ajax.
Yeah.
So second in their league. They lost at the weekend. They played on Saturday. They lost to Go Ahead Eagles 3-2. They were actually winning in that game. They were winning 2-1 at half time, and then ended up losing the game by 3-2. So that suggests that possibly the defense can be got at. And their record against Arsenal hasn't been brilliant over the years. Arsenal are unbeaten in their 5 home games in European competitions against PSV, but that is a home game. This game, of course, is away. We've won 3 and drawn 2. This is the second time Arsenal have faced PSV in the knockout stages of the Champions League. But they did eliminate us last time. That was in 2006-07, when we lost 1-0 to them away and drew with them at home. Arsenal have only lost one of their last 14 games against Dutch sides, however, in the Champions League, and that was to PSV in 2007. It's decent enough record against them. We can go through in this, and this would be something that would give a little bit of a boost to our season. We need something, Marty.
We do need something. And do you know what? The one that I'm looking for is to get a Madrid side at the Emirates in the Champions League. It's big Champions League nights like that. That's what I go to football for, obviously, and to see Arsenal winning. And this is a competition that I do believe we can go far in. But it's just a headache of the forward personnel that we've got at the moment, and it's just hard to see. I don't know whether I've actually seen an Arsenal team in this situation, up front, where we're lacking. It used to always sort of be defensively that we'd have the problems, and that's the worrying thing, is where are these goals going to come from? You've got Odegaard, who's not firing on all cylinders at the moment, and he's not playing. For me, a captain like that, it's at times like this, he needs to stand up, he needs to be counted, and he needs to start putting some serious shifts in, and he needs to start creating stuff and scoring some goals, and the big players in this side, really need, your Raheem Sterling's, your Trossard's. For me, Trossard's gone missing. He's been ineffective as well. That guy, at times, when we've got a plethora of players to choose from, and then he's coming on as a sub and he's scoring and he's looking dangerous, and he's giving the manager a headache of, do you start Trossard? And then now he's getting started and it's almost a given. It's almost like he's like, yeah, I'm going to start anyway. So, however I perform, it doesn't matter. For me, that is what a lot of the team, or definitely the front players, they know they're going to start. apart from Wanyeri, I know they're going to start. They know they've got options, and they've gone missing a bit. And
All right, Marty, I'd love it. Give me your team. What team what would be your 11 for that game against PSV?
Lewis Skelly at left back, obviously Raya in goal. Lewis Skelly at left back. Gabriel Saliba centre back pairing. Timber at right back. I'd go with Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, and I'd start with Trossard in the 9, Sterling on the left, and Wanyeri on the right. And then after 6, if that's not working, which it probably won't up front, I'd get them to run at the players, and then after 60, 70 minutes, I'd bring Calafiori and Marino on and change it up, and potentially Jorginho. I'd see how Rice is playing, I'd see how Partey's playing, and that could be a move to bring Jorginho on. That for me is the option, and bringing those 3 players on changes the dynamic of the game. Calafiori drives from midfield. You know, he is a very good ball carrying player, and he, you know, that link up for me with him and Marino against the Leicester game. What I saw when that change was made, I really liked the shift. You know, I just saw the team shift late on. Leicester didn't know what to do, you know, and it was a style of play that I think Mikel Arteta sort of stumbled upon. But when you play Marino without those, you know, in that situation when we start, it's not a style of play. It's Marino looks lost up front. So that's how I'd set up, and those are the potential substitutes I'd make. I certainly wouldn't be bringing Zinchenko on for me, or you know, I like Ben White. Now, I would really like to see now, you know, one of the best things that I saw recently was Ben White, you know, putting an Arsenal shirt back on again from his injury, because him and Saka down that right-hand side, it's forgotten how effective those two were when, you know, the overlaps that Ben White would give Saka for Saka to cut inside. Now, Saka and Wanyeri are very similar players in the way they play, the styles of play, i.e. Wanyeri loves to cut inside, but to cut inside, you need to drag players, defenders out to open up that space. Otherwise, everyone goes with him. So having Ben White, a fit Ben White, playing with Wanyeri again, you know, opens up options to open up teams. So I'm looking forward to that. Or, you know, it depends how Timber's doing, bringing Ben White on as well. I mean, I don't know how. What you don't want to do is rush these players back from injury. What I don't want to do is see Ben White get started and this knee injury, like, you know, ends up and he's out for the rest of the season into next season.
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't start Ben White. I said it earlier. I'd start Timber. Timber played in the Dutch league. Timber knows the Dutch league inside out. He knows PSV inside out. He's played at that stadium many a times. That experience will be invaluable. So for me, he starts and bring Ben White on later on. It's up front where, you know, I agree with your team, but it's just up front. I don't know. I'm not seeing enough of Sterling for me to. I mean, listen, to start him, you know, he's just.
Do you know what it is?
What is it? You know, what I mean,
what it is for me, there's no. You've got to play him because he's what we've got. I don't see how he can go through this season and not do anything, because he has got the talent. This guy has won stuff at the highest level for City, for Liverpool. Like, he is a top player.
Yeah, but that was then though. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing it at all. I mean, I've been shocked as well. I thought that we'd even see something, but we've not been seeing it. I don't know. Do we start with him? I mean, I don't know.
Well, what it is he will run at players, and he will start trying to cause problems, and he will wear teams out, and he will tire defenders down. You know,
he'll run up. We've seen him run at players. We've seen him run straight into players.
Yeah, I know.
How many players has he beaten?
Run the ball off at the touchline as well.
Yeah,
you know,
so
it's ridiculous. Seen him miss penalties. You know, I get it, Robbie. I get it, and he's frustrating. But I just think, you know, for me, and then after 60,
at least Marino scored a couple of goals.
Yeah, but that was after they played like that, and then they made the change.
I know that, but I don't know, man. I've got such. I mean, I'm just like, I've just got no faith in Sterling at the moment. I hope he can prove me wrong. I hope he can, you know, but starting him, I've just not seen anything from him.
Do you know what as well? Do you know what as well? Who I'd like to see, and this is a little bit out there, but one of the best finishers that we have at that club, other than Marino, or that could play in that 9, Calafiori.
Yeah. I mean,
It's well out there, and he'd be well out of position, and it's a huge gamble. But you know, the guy can finish, and the guy can run with the ball, and sometimes in these situations, what other choices do you have?
Can he hold it up though? Can he?
Yeah,
hold it up and bring other players into. I don't know. Listen, it might be worth a try. The other thing is as well.
Go on.
Are we writing off the Marino thing too early? Listen, he scored 2 goals. And then for the next 2 games, he hasn't scored. He's been affected, but that can happen to even strikers. Are we writing that off? Are we writing that off too early?
I'm not, Robbie. I'm not writing it off. Right? Look, what it is
sounds like it though.
No, in the last games, Robbie, I just see him. He wasn't in the right positions.
What's Trossard done in the last 2 games? What's anybody? No one's done anything.
No, they were all terrible. I get it.
That's what I'm saying. So are we writing that off too early? You know what I mean? Obviously, you know, yes, the last 2 games teams are sat deep and that, but do you just write it off immediately and say, oh, in the last couple of games it ain't worked? Or do you persist with it a little bit longer?
But Robbie, I'm not writing it off. I'm saying bring him on after 60 minutes. As a substitute to change the game, because I think it suits him better coming on at that time in the game to change it. It's for us, it's about changing the dynamic in the game. It's about changing the way we play. And you know, we just when we sat out like against Nottingham Forest, okay, yeah, I know they played for a draw, and look, it can be a tough place to go. It just up front, we just looked. There wasn't anything. The midfield were great. You know, the midfield were good. Defensively, we were very good, and up front, we were just all at sea, and there was nothing that I saw there about, you know, when Sterling came on. Then he brought him on, I think, for 10 minutes. He ran at a couple of players, dived in the box, and that's it. I just think by starting Sterling with Trossard and Nwaneri up front, I just think you can then bring on other options, and it changes the game better than starting with Marino. Also, potentially with Marino not being a natural out and out number 9, you know, again, we don't end up ruining his confidence by playing him as a 9, and then he has a, you know, he goes on a run of games without scoring, and that's his Arsenal career finished.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we got no options.
We haven't.
It may come down to set pieces. But I was saying earlier that I notice in Europe our set pieces are not as effective because the referees don't allow as much. The referees, as soon as somebody gets a little block or push, they're just blowing up straight away. Yeah. So I've noticed even in the last couple of games, Arsenal have gone short with a couple of those corners. Like, you know, so we may even lose a bit of the effect of those corners and set pieces in the games. But I mean, somebody, like we're all saying it. You're saying it. I'm saying it. Even everybody in the comments are saying it. Somebody in that forward line or midfield has to step up now.
They've got to. And this is the problem as well with Arsenal Football Club at the moment. And you're telling me there's no one in the youth team, you know, or a younger player that they can bring on. There's no one that can, you know, these are professional athletes on a lot of money, and they're at Arsenal Football Club, and we haven't got any other options. And we are left in a competition like this, which we have waited all these years to be in, and also the ticket prices that we pay. And this is our problem. We have not got, you know, forward line, you know, it's lightweight, and it's an issue to having a recognised goal scorer. That's a serious problem, you know. And obviously, do you know when Martinelli is actually due back?
Well, the talk is Martinelli now, end of April.
Wow. Well,
End of April.
Well, that's that one out the window. What I'd give for him to be back now, to be able to play him through the middle, and I think that's the closest we'd have to an option. But
end of April, and when he comes back, you can't just rush him straight in as well. He's come back with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, and also this as well, all these hamstring injuries. You know, how comes how comes at Arsenal Football Club we have got so many hamstring injuries? You know, serious hamstring injuries as well. Like season, there's got to be for me something going on behind the scenes, or something that's being done, or you know, whether it's the players being worked in the wrong way, etc. To have these very, very similar injuries with all of our players. Well, not all of our players, but our front line.
Could be that. It could be just bad luck. It could be, who knows? But the one thing we do know is that we could have covered off some of this in January. We didn't do that, and now this is what we're left with. But we're so light. But when you think about it, why did we bring in somebody like us? This is where I'm getting a bit frustrated now with Raheem Sterling. He was brought in case anything happens to Saka. Well, something's happened. We need you to step up. We need you to step up.
And he hasn't at all.
And he hasn't at all.
He hasn't at all. And it's bad. It's bad. And
he said when he was announced, he said that he was going to show everybody. He's not showed anything.
I know.
Now, the season's not over yet.
Yeah.
He can win over a lot of Arsenal fans in these next couple of Champions League games. He can win them over.
Yeah.
With some performances. We ain't seen a performance from him at all this year. We need a performance. These should be games. He's played in the Champions League. He's played in all these big games. He should be bringing his experience.
Yep.
He should be bringing his skill. I want to see players step up now. I mean, like, you know, we can do show after show after show talking about hamstring injuries, talking about whose fault it was that we didn't sign a striker, talking about why didn't we sign any forward players in January. It's too late for all that now. What we've got left, we need to see them step up. Sterling, step the fuck up. Martin Odegaard, step the fuck up. You know what I mean? These guys, they need to step up.
They do.
You know, they need to step up and deliver. These are the crunch moments when you as an individual are called upon to step up as a leader and as an experienced player in that side. And so far, we've seen the youngsters stepping up. We've seen Wanyeri step up. We've seen Myers Lewis step up when they've been called into because remember, both of those have been almost like called in as an emergency.
Yeah.
Right? And they've stepped up, both of them.
Yeah.
Brilliantly. Now I want to see Raheem Sterling as a senior player. I want to see you step up. Even Marino, give him his juice. I know it's only been for one game so far, but he stepped up, did 2 goals in that game. I need to see Raheem Sterling step up. And there's other players in that team as well. Now, you know, this is it. This is the only thing really we've got to play for this season. It's 2 things we've got to do now. Finish strongly in the Premier League. Not going to win it. Finish strongly in that and try and win this Champions League.
Yeah.
And when everybody says, absolutely no chance against this, and listen, we're not supposed to beat Real Madrid. We're not supposed to beat Atletico Madrid. We haven't got as good a team as them. But in cup competitions, teams can have not as good team. I mean, you know, Plymouth beat Liverpool.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in League whatever, League One. We have to step up. We have to step up. We've got to find a way. This is where the manager's got to step up as well. He's got to find a way to negotiate through this crisis and still win. So, time for excuses.
Do you know what, Robbie? I think exactly what you say there in cup competitions, and I've seen many a cup competitions over the years. And funny enough, when I was watching the Man United and Fulham game earlier, and I remember a Manchester United and Coventry game in the FA Cup a few years ago. I think it's the other season, and Coventry went 3-0 down in 70th minute. And then they pulled it back level, 3-1, 3-2, 3-all. And they should have won it, but for a bad decision. And that is everything that cup competitions are about, albeit that is one game. I get it. But anything can happen in these competitions. and you have to believe, and you have to go and attack it. And in clutch situations, which is what this is, your likes of your Declan Rices, your Thomas Partys, your Jorginhos, you know, your Martin Odegaards, your Trossards, your Sterlings, even your Ethan Nwaneri. Ethan Nwaneri's proved he's good enough. You know, Miles Lewis-Skelly, and this is with Butler. We've got Butler as a youth team who's on the verge. He came on against Dynamo Zagreb, and he looked lively, and he looked. You know, this is an opportunity to bring some of these lads through. You know, because that's what we've got as an option, and maybe make some history, because you make history by making chances. And you know, it goes back to the old Alex Ferguson thing that Alan Hansen said, you never win anything with kids. And, you know, that was laughed at. And then look what happened. You know, we know how that story played out. You know, it's Miles Lewis-Skelly has proved massively this season. Okay, he got sent off, against, that was a straight red or contentious decision. The Wolves one, we all know how that one panned out. But he has proven to be, these young lads, what talents they are and how they've stood up in intense situations and started to become real proper Arsenal players, and that's what it's about. And I think they really need to galvanise and get their act together and realise that they can go on and they can do this in these situations.
Hassan says, this guy's a hype merchant. He thinks he's talking about me. Needs to stick to watching Rocky movies. Hey, listen to me, Hassan, yeah? Listen to me. Players have got to fight, bro. In anything you're doing, in anything in life, right? What happens? Is everything going to be just running smooth?
No.
Is everything going to be perfect? You know what I mean? You got this player, that player, everything's running sweet. No. Step up. Last season, do you remember that cup final, Carabao Cup final, Liverpool? Pure kids they had to play in that game. And they won that final. The kids as they played, they stepped up. Remember that?
Yep.
The Carabao Cup final.
Yep.
No one gave them a chance. When they saw Liverpool's team, I remember when that game started, I saw the team. I'm like, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Okay. They're playing Chelsea. They're playing Chelsea, and I'm like, I don't want Chelsea to win. Obviously, I'd rather Liverpool win. And I'm like, Chelsea are gonna smoke these. This is crazy. Look, it's just kids there I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
What did they do? They stepped up and they won the Carabao Cup. The youngsters stepped up, and then they were guided by the senior players like Van Dijks and people, and they won it. And like you said, Mike, it's a cup competition. It's a lot different sometimes to the league, because in the league it's harder. You can step up, but you can't do it week in, week out. Right? But when it's a cup competition, you can dig in.
Yeah.
That's what we need to see from this Arsenal team from now till the end of the competition. They've got to dig in. No point in crying about it. So you can say it's a Rocky film, right? Maybe they take inspiration off that, because this is digging in time. This is trenches time. This is wartime.
I think
this is wartime, bro.
Robbie,
not everything is always going to run sweet for you. Not everything is going to run your way. You're not going to have every player at your disposal. It's not going to be all sweet for you. What do you do then? That is when we see the true character of certain players. So that's what I'm saying to a player like Raheem Sterling. He ain't running for you right now. But the only person who can turn that around is you. Win your individual battles. Rise. Stand up for the team that you're playing for. The fans will be there, and they'll be right behind that team on Tuesday night. But what are you going to do? So that's what I'm saying here. Oh, you want to say it's a Rocky film? It's a Rocky film. You can say what you want. I'm saying reality. This is how I operate in life. Right? It ain't always going to be, how you want it. What next? What do you do then? Do you just go home crying to mummy? Right? Or do you step up and take on the challenge? That's what I'm saying.
Go on, Rob. That was a motivational speech.
For real, though.
I ever did hear one. I feel motivated after that.
No, for real, though. Listen, I'm being for real here. I'm not even I'm being for real. I want to see some people.
Straight up, Robbie. I think Hassan seen that quote, and I live my life by that. It's behind me. You know, the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. I don't care how tough you are. It will beat you to your knees, keep you there permanently. If you let it, you, me, or nobody's going to hit as hard as I. It ain't how hard you hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. And it's how much you can take. That is how winning is done. And I live my life
Exactly.
by. Listen, every
That's
day.
how you win. That's how you win.
Of course
Sometimes it ain't going.
Done.
It ain't going your way. That's why I love boxing, and I admire boxers, man. Sometimes they'll be in a fight, right?
Yeah.
And a fight they're expected to win, and then next minute, you know, they get a big hit, and they're struggling or got a massive cut or whatever, and they got a still. And you'll see some fighters will just drop to the ground or start, you know, and others will fight their way through it. Well, this is that situation now for Arsenal and these players. We can't keep crying about the win. I'm with you. The January transfer window is terrible.
Yeah.
And people need to, I said, somebody from the club needs to come out and tell these fans why they did what they did. But right now, number one, they ain't gonna. And number two, that don't matter right now. What matters now is the game in front of us. We want to win it. We want to win that game. And we can win that game against PSV. We can knock out PSV over 2 legs. We can. Even with the injuries that we've got,
of course we can.
We can knock out PSV. Go ahead, Eagles beat them. So go ahead, Eagles are better than Arsenal, even
Robbie,
with the
we
injury.
can beat anyone on our day, and that's a fact. We can.
But to do it, your Odegaards, your Sterlings, your Trossards, these guys, your Rice, they got to step up. So, you know, you got men down, you got soldiers that are dead. Someone's got to pick the gun up, you know what I mean, and lead the fight. Yeah, you've got to come out, you know what I mean? I don't want to see nobody bottling it when it comes to, like, that's what, you see that game against West Ham? That's what, to me, I was like, hey, this is like a bottling performance, man.
Yes.
Nobody stepped up.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody said, oh, you know what, it's not going our way today, man. It's like, all right, give me that ball, man. Let me just... Nobody did that. That's why I hated that performance. That performance annoyed me. The performance against Forest, even though we couldn't break them down, even though we were toothless, there was fight there.
Yeah,
there's fight there because their Forest are a good side. If we hadn't showed that fight, probably we could end up losing that game as well. Remember, they put 7 past Brighton at that place, right? But the West Ham performance, that can't be repeated again from now till the end of the season where there's a lack of fight. So these guys, come on, show us something. Make the fans proud again.
No, I'm with you on that, Robbie.
Sorry, just before you go there, Marty, Hassan's back again. He says, Robbie, this isn't a movie about step up. How about the board step up and take accountability for the bullshit? Kroenke needs to hear this Rocky speech. But listen, Hassan, Kroenke ain't hearing it, is he? He's on his bloody ranch somewhere. Yeah? He's on his ranch. His son, I don't know where he is, and all these other people around the club, we don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. Both me and you will be watching that game on Wednesday, or Tuesday, sorry, and both me and you are going to want Arsenal to win. So what do we need? We need to play Kroenke on the pitch. And then we'll deal with him later. These men need to step up. Simple. Simple. These, you know what? A player, even when you think about it, players like Sterling and that, yeah? And like I said, Trossard, these guys, if they're on the bench week in, week out, right, and everybody's fit, and they're on the bench week in, week out, they're going to the manager saying, oh, can't I get a game? Mikel, when am I going to get a start? You saw Trossard at the start of the season crying because he you know, when he's celebrating that goal. When am I going to play? Well, you're playing now. Now you're playing. And this is what you're showing us? Nah. Step up. If it's a film, it's a film. This ain't no film, by the way, either. It's not a film.
I'm completely with you on that.
It's reality.
I'm completely with you. After that West Ham game, I came out of that stadium and I felt completely deflated in a way that there was no fight, there was no bite, there was no desire. The players just didn't want it. They just didn't. It was off like they'd given up. And, you know, it's like every day, I don't wake up thinking, oh, today's going to be a bad day. I wake up thinking today's going to be a good day, and I understand that some bad stuff might happen along that day. And as and when it does, I'll deal with it. But I'll remain positive And this is what I don't get with like people talk about like toxic positivity and stuff like that. I don't understand such a word. I really don't. For me, life is about being positive and having a positive outlook and thinking that you can do it. And the only way that you can't is when it hasn't happened, you know. But until then, I'll give absolutely everything until it doesn't happen, and I'll remain positive, believing all the way. And that is what I want to see from the players. And in this cup competition, look, that Chelsea team that were 8th, we referred to Roberto Di Matteo was managing them, who was completely inexperienced, and they went and won the Champions League with cheeky 1-0 results, etc., and nicking goals. So teams do it. I remember when that Porto team won the Champions League years ago. This can be done, and we are a big football club.
Teams have got to the Champions League final.
Tottenham got to the final, for God's sakes.
Tottenham got to the final. Teams have got to the final, right? Teams have got to the final, and they're not even playing well in their league. They're not even performing in their league, and they've got to final, right? You know what I mean? It's not. But you got to show fight. You got to show grit. If if you're defending, you got to defend with everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody's got you know what I mean? Your style might have to change, but you're going to have to dig in.
Yeah.
Because the crying, I mean, we've moaned, we can moan about it, and we can say what we want to say as fans, but we ain't on the pitch. These guys are professional footballers. This is their professional pride. They need to show up on the pitch. They need to show up on the pitch. They can't be looking and say, oh, what if we had Saka? What if you ain't got them? And you ain't going to have them. You ain't going to have them. Robbie, why not make it be? Why not make it be? If I'm a player, if it's me, this is just me. If I'm a player, I'm going to be like, oh, why? I'll tell you what, why not I use this as my opportunity? Forget about Saka. This is my time. I'm going to make it so that when Saka comes back, the manager might not even put him back in the team. The manager might say, oh, yeah, Bukayo, bro, you know what? Ethan's been playing so well. He's undroppable right now. Or, you know what? Boy, Raheem, he's been on fire, mate. We'll bring you on for the last 15. You know what? Trossard's been. Why don't they think like that way? It's all very easy to say, "Oh, I'm not getting minutes" when you know you're on the bench, but now you're starting. So why not now? Mikel Merino, you've been signed for Arsenal. Oh, well, you did have a pre-season. You had that broken shoulder. It's been a stop-start for you. But why not now say, right, I know a few fans have been sort of moaning about the fee and let me show them. Let me show them why I'm here.
Yeah.
No, it's down to them now. It's down to them and the team collectively.
Yeah. Led
by Martin Odegaard, collectively, it's down to them. It's down to them to say, well, forget about, when I had Dr. Andre on the other day, it was really interesting because he was saying when players get injured and they're long-term injuries, they don't even, when they come into work, they don't come in with the rest of the team. They come in and do their own sort of rehabilitation stuff, right? And one of the reasons why they do that, he says, is because they don't want the rest of the team seeing them and feeling sorry for them, or, because he goes, some of those players are a bit down, you know what I mean? They're not starting games, they're not being able to do what they want to do week in, week out. So they're sort of sent away to do their rehabilitation separately.
Yeah.
Because they don't want that to have effect on the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So the rest of the team, you know what I mean? Saka, all these guys, they're out. Forget about them for now.
Yeah. Concentrate
on you and put in a performance that the fans will be proud of. Imagine if you, honestly, this is what I think anyway. This is what I think. And then at the end of the season, if it ain't enough, then we'll talk. And is it a new manager needed? Is it new players? We'll deal with that then. But right now, this is what we got.
Yeah, we have got to work with what we've got at the moment, 100%. And look, Mikel Merino did it in the summer with Spain and won a big tournament, and got the goal, a
they weren't favourites to win that tournament either, remember? Spain.
Yeah,
they weren't favourites to win that.
I know, and that's how it is. You know, it's not always the favourites that win the tournaments, and you know, anything can happen. You know, and that's what makes it so interesting. And you know, it is the big players that need to step up, and they need to find a way to do it. They need to be resolute, and you know, I think another thing that people are forgetting is defensively. You know, we are sound at the back, and defenses win you leagues, they win you titles. You know. So it's important to remember that not all hope is lost. You know, we have got a great team. It's just, you know, we might be missing a few players through injury. We just need to find a way to work with what we've got and move forward.
Yep. I mean, was you reading that one?
I was just reading that. Yeah, it's come to what you've made of or whatever. This show's come to.
Which one was it? Which one was it? Was it?
Unfortunately, this show. That's it. This show has come and show what you're made of. Mentality is no longer currently. Only Nketiah had it.
Well, no. I don't, listen. I think there are players in that team that's got it. I think Gabriel's got that. I think Saliba's got that.
Definitely.
I think Timber's got that. I think the defenders have got that. Raya. I think Declan Rice has got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's some of those.
Jorginho.
Yeah, I think the majority. But I'm saying now there's some key players up front. This is where right now the issue's up front. Yeah.
Yes.
Martin Odegaard and the full attacking type. So from Odegaard and the I take Nwaneri out.
Sterling.
To me, Nwaneri. To me, I take Nwaneri out of this because he's done that. He showed me.
Yeah.
He's stepped up big time. Him and Lewis Skelly, they've been called in emergency. They've stepped up. Brilliant.
Yes, they have.
Trossard, Raheem Sterling, Marino has stepped up. But I need more, but he stepped up. And Odegaard, those four in particular, I need those four to step up.
And
in particular, the ones in particular I'm looking at is Odegaard, Trossard, and Sterling. Those three experienced players, three very talented players.
Capable players.
If they're on their day, if they're on the money, they're very good players. They need to step up. Big time.
And I think with those, Robbie, with those players, it's not like you're asking players that can't do it to step up and be counted. Yeah. These players can do it. These players are good enough. When you talk about Trossard, he's an international. Sterling's been there, won it all. Odegaard, you know, come on. We all know the talent and you know what he possesses. You know how good sometimes he runs that Norway team and puts them through games. When, you know, look at the team that he's in. You know, he needs to do that for Arsenal consistently, you know, and he needs to start getting some goals. He needs to start scoring. And for me as well, Rice recently, he really needs to step up, you know, and really start earning that price tag.
Yeah, it's easy. As I said, it's easy to cry.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's easy to cry. It's easy to moan. It's a lot harder to turn things around, right? And we're not talking about, as I said, we've got some players there. We're not talking about crap players. We're not talking about novice players. We're talking about talented international players.
Quality.
But they need to now show what they got.
Yeah.
If they do that, we go through against PSV. Simple.
Yeah.
Are you out there, Marty?
I'm not going to PSV, no, but I will. I'm on a watch along.
You're on a watch along. Yeah. I'll be out there. We're actually flying out tomorrow. Game's on Tuesday, of course. It's actually flying out tomorrow. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the game, especially the fact that we didn't have a game this weekend. So I'm looking forward to it. But honestly,
do you know what, Robbie? I'll be honest with you. I really enjoyed the Nottingham Forest game. Like, I know the result was bad, but I really enjoyed the experience. Also, there's a part of me. Obviously, in football, I want to win. I want to win trophies. I completely. But I love the experience of going up to Nottingham. I've never been to the City Ground before. I love the experience in that stadium. It's a fantastic old school stadium. You know, the atmosphere and everything about it, and getting around to these grounds and experiencing football. The Arsenal fans, you know, the away fans were fantastic as always, and you know. It was just great to be part and parcel of that, and to be in and around it. And albeit we didn't get the result. The Champions League, you know, this Tuesday night, You know, whether our squad's threadbare or whatever, you know, we had years where we weren't in the Champions League. So am I looking forward to this game? Yeah, I am. 100%. Do I think we can win it? Yeah, I do, because I believe in our team. We are a good team and we can beat anyone on our day. And, you know, it's these competitions and these knockout phases of the competition that I've wanted Arsenal to be in, because I remember under Wenger, 20 odd years of being back to back in the Champions League and, you know, nearly getting close to it, you know, getting to the final. And that was, you know, that was heartbreaking, you know, losing how we did as well. And if we had 11 men on that pitch, we win that game. And then, you know, going through all those years of having Champions League but never quite getting there, and then obviously having the years where we weren't in Champions League and watching other teams playing it, and we were in Europa League and going through that time when, you know, the Emirates Stadium, it had 30,000 people in it, it was toxic, and, you know, freezing cold Wednesday nights, you know, playing AK Alkmaar and, you know, or some team from, you know, Eastern Europe with a man and his dog, you know, it was just, you know, a far cry from these big European nights, and I'm really looking forward to the return game when PSV come to the Emirates, and then hopefully, you know, after that we get a Madrid side there. These nights, they're special nights, you know, they really are. They're live.
It's what we want to be here for. So, you know, Marty, we come to the end of the show tonight. Just before you go, give us a prediction for that first leg.
1-0.
To who?
Arsenal.
Okay. I'm gonna go 1-1. I'm gonna go 1-1 for my prediction for it. And then we bring them back. But listen, Marty, thanks very much for coming on today. Thanks to all you guys for watching. Don't forget, we are heading to Holland tomorrow for that game. Right. So look out for all of our coverage of that game over in Eindhoven, where Arsenal take on PSV. We've got the watch along. Marty's on it in the studio, along with all Turkish and the rest of the guys. And as I said, we're going to be out there. Me, Lee, all the guys will be out there speaking to fans over there, making lots of content as well as we're over there in Eindhoven for the big Champions League game. But thanks very much for everybody joining tonight. And make sure you phone a United fan tonight and ask them how the FA Cup's gone after they were yapping after they knocked us out. And also, don't forget the competition. I think there's only about 18 tickets left for the raffle, where you can win that 1,500 VIP tickets, to hospitality tickets to go and watch Arsenal versus Chelsea. If you haven't really got yours, you better move fast, because when they're gone, they're gone. So jump on that. How
can I enter this competition, Robbie?
The link is in the description. Just click the link, go onto that, and you can enter straight away. So Marty, thanks very much. Thanks to you guys as well for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Thank you. Your exclusive chance to win 2 VIP hospitality tickets to Arsenal versus Chelsea worth over £1,500 is finally here.
AFTV is teaming up with Reporte, the marketplace for luxury raffles, to give one lucky winner these tickets.
We're talking free food, drinks, great seats, and a day at the Emirates that you'll never forget.
And with only 250 tickets available, your chances of winning are seriously high. Plus, guys, a percentage of every ticket sold goes to a charity to help fight childhood cancer.
It's completely transparent, and the checkout is easy. It takes less than 1 minute, and you can even use Apple Pay.
So hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to enter a raffle with Reforte.
The competition is UK only, and the winner will be announced live on YouTube and Instagram. So grab your tickets right now.
Good luck!